Plastic pollution being in the oceans is such an important problem for us is because as it enters the environment, large plastic items can break down into smaller fragments and become microplastics and even smaller nanoplastics. And each size of these plastics have impacts on the environment, so macro, micro, and nano. So marine life that are exposed to these plastics can suffer from a variety of consequences. There can be physical harm through ingestment or entanglement. Physiological issues can be caused by the chemicals in the plastic. Floating plastics can also carry pathogens, which is like diseases and invasive species, which is very detrimental to marine ecological health. My co-author, Karen Qualley, incorporated these microplastics interactions with the biological plastics into our model to achieve a realistic reflection of what actually could be happening in the oceans. We then decided to apply 8 different pollution reduction scenarios to this model that Karen developed, looking at these scenarios were essentially meant to reflect a different range of ambitions for plastic pollution reductions. We had 3 main conclusions from this work. Our first conclusion, which is probably the most promising, is that the scenario looking at a 5% reduction of pollution per year was able to achieve global surface microplastic pollution reduction within decades. So that is aligning with the INC's goals to end plastic pollution by 2040. Not quite 2040, just a couple decades after, but there is possibility that if we start reducing pollution now, we'll be able to essentially rely on the biological plastic sink to remove plastic from surface oceans if the influx is not so great. Our next set of results is not so positive. This plastic that's being removed from the oceans has to be going somewhere, and our results suggest that it's going into biology. So biology is in effect acting as a capacitor for microplastics, so storing it over time and then gradually discharging it into the deeper oceans. And our modeling results suggested this process of biology essentially absorbing plastic from the surface oceans could be going on for centuries. So there's a high likelihood that biology is going to be saturated with microplastics for many decades and if not centuries to come. And there were also no reduction scenarios in our study that resulted in a reduction of the pollution held in biology. So even a very idealized maximum reduction scenario did not remove plastics from the biology, looking at our results.